Time's up. Attribution.
Here it comes.
Fade in.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself. But go f yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
What's the matter? Take yourself a great big bite of meat. Taste the pleasure of the highest quality pork around.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
No! She's not supposed to be talking about...
I have no idea what's going on, Dre, but it's fun.
Talk about that!
He's having a breakdown. Somebody call Johnny Cochran. Oh, you will taste and see that I am delicioso.
You got to watch it. You got to hit the like button.
We've got to get it up for him, guys. Come on. Everyone who's watching this
Don't say
video
it like
needs to
that.
go over
Don't
there,
say it like that.
and share the video. We got to keep going.
Don't they have to get it up for me? Don't say it like that. God damn it.
Yo, you let Joe hit the back of your throat. Have you no shame?
But I'm so apathetic to Star Wars that this episode could have featured Yoda riding on a dildo being wielded by R2-D2, and I would have the same reaction.
Oh, these two girls when you kiss, they're gonna be hot. Oh, yo, you know Elizabeth Hurley's gonna get butt naked in this.
I will twerk on her on the bed. I ain't gonna do it in the middle of the dance floor.
That's what I'm. Yeah, whatever.
That's all right.
Why? My brain didn't need that. I'd already seen too many pictures of Shooty Gatwa today.
What?
Well, there's an image in my mind.
Well, we're talking about people who have serious sexual orientation and gender identity problems. And I'm not talking, and when I say sexual orientation, I don't mean, a dude who likes a dude and a chick who likes a chick. We're talking about people who think that they're non-binary and they don't know how to play with their holes and shit like that.
Oh,
so, Jesus Christ. I'm still jerking off in front of my console.
I'm retarded.
I dangled for too long there. That wasn't fun.
This is why I do crystal meth. This week I binged Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos.
And you binged it right out
this week and you forgot it?
You consumed it and you binged it right out, huh?
Yep, and I definitely took a nice good country dump and it came right out along with it. Two things. One thing is guaranteed to happen, Adam. I'm going to get naked. Either way, either from celebration or depression, I'm getting naked in some way, shape, or form. It's happening. Period. Not up for debate. It's happening.
I've been told by lore people for this stuff for House of the Dragon for the books. Yeah, Rhaenyra, she was into dining at the Clam Slam. She was into that.
Clam Slam.
She slammed clams. She dined at the oyster bar. She was all into that.
Bella Downsy fingered Dora the Explorer on HBO.
There is nobody of merit there. It's for their new fan base. That's who D23 is for. Everybody who went there knowing they sniff crotch and suck shit.
Ooh, so exciting.
There was high top fade, Dre. There's been so many over the years. Cornrows, all of them.
Just let your soul go. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul go, baby. Feeling oh so silky smooth.
Listen, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. The only reason the world hasn't probably imploded is because of porn. Because you take away the porn, World War IV happens. We're going to skip over World War III. We're going right to World War IV. All right? We need release. We need relaxation. We need things. Whatever scratches your itch, whatever gets you going, whatever gets a rise out of you. As long as you keep it to yourself and you're not hurting anybody else, especially kids, more power to. I don't care if you're a goddamn furry. I just want to see it. But people need their release to stay calm, to stay relaxed. All right? You take that away, enjoy an actual revolution where people of all sides don't agree on anything, will come together and say, no, I'm not living under this world where I can't touch myself. All right? No, this is the reality we live in. It's just there. And as long as somebody's getting hurt, everybody's having a good time. Just because you are either a frigid or an erectile dysfunctional is not a problem that I care about. All right? You know what? There is a single reason why I wouldn't want to become a merman. I wouldn't have my penis anymore. And these tool bags wouldn't know quality if it walked up and motorboated them. Because, you're going to motorboat quality.
Wait, what?
Quality boobs. You want to motorboat quality boobs.
There we go. All better now. Man, titties are the greatest things on earth.
I wonder about myself sometimes.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah.
I'm glad you caught up.
I might have problems. Hail and howdy, everybody. Welcome to the round table where it's just the Ginger and the Jew today because Dragon Lady's on assignment and Dre is now a proud father. So everybody send their good wishes and congratulations to our boy. He has now got a whole nother level of stuff he has to worry about. But congratulations, Dre. We are all happy for you. And as soon as you can come back, of course, we are ready to have you join the table once again. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. Jed, I just can't wake up today. I just can't seem to wake up.
I mean, you've been having that problem for a while now. Been hanging out with Dermy too much. Late night sessions just leave you drained.
Why you gotta make it sound like that? That makes you sound like I'm sort of like degenerate weirdo.
It doesn't make you sound like one.
All right. Here's the thing. All right. Yes. Was Dermy around last night for what I was doing? Yes, but he didn't show up until like 2.5-3 hours in to what we were doing last night. No, last night we had a really good time playing Dark Tide with the new Arbitus class, and I am the law. I said that way too many times last night. No, because here's the thing: we did the lore on Daily Dive when the Arbitus were being created for Warhammer 40K. They had a partnership with the guys who created Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd literally is the template for those guys, so I can say I am the law when I'm playing it. And but in all seriousness, that class is so OP. It's awesome. We went in there with like 4 of us playing it at one point, and we just it was a level 2 difficulty out of 5, but still, I was like level 1, and yes, Alf was level 30, but the other guys were in between. We just annihilated the level. Shotguns and cyber dogs everywhere, just destroying mobs. It's a lot of fun. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it so much because I don't really like pet classes in games where you have to worry about a pet, but that dog is great because it will jump on ranged mobs and kill them for me. So I don't have to go chasing them down. And that shotgun, the exterminator shotgun you get, the special weapon, is just so cool. That thing is devastating and I love it. So it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Yes, it's DLC you have to pay for, but it is worth it. It has just made the game like very fresh and new again. It's a lot of fun. So we had a good time last night. It's all we played last night. Alf played for 6 hours. I played, my stream went for 5 hours, almost over 5.5 hours. So it was a lot last night, and it was good. Had a couple losses here and there, but it had those moments where we had just like great co-op team play, and we're just like shouting orders, giving heads up back and forth, covering each other, doing shit. It was a lot of fun. So you guys want to watch it? It's still up on the main channel. I may or may not transfer it to the arcade, but we'll see. But you guys can still watch it. It's good old-fashioned gaming bro entertainment. Jed, you played a game last night, I'm sure.
I did play a game, and that's partially why I do have to apologize to chat. We were almost late today because, in case people accuse us of not being nerds, which happens on occasion,
Yeah.
we were almost late because we were nerding about Expedition 33, which I'm currently playing, getting very near the end, and it is such a fucking good game. Barring some disaster and the finale, which I still have to do, it's comfortably slotting into my second favorite game of all time. Like, it is that good to me. Right below Witcher 3 for me.
Having beaten it, I will say, considering I understand your predilections to stuff like that, I think you're going to enjoy the ending. I think you're going to enjoy it because it's going to make you think. You're going to have to think about it when you get there. So it's good. It's good. So when you're done with it, we have to talk about it. Now, here's the thing, guys. You guys can either have us talk about whatever the hell we're going to talk about today, or Jed and I can keep talking Expedition 33 for like another half an hour if you want.
We could pull that off very easily.
Yes, because here's the thing. First of all, hail and hi to the chat. We're happy to have you guys with us here on this Sunday afternoon. We hope you're having a good day. The best way to show it is hit that like button if you're already enjoying what we're bringing to you. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. I've got like a day and a half to get to 4,000 on the channel, and YouTube has done nothing but screw me over this week. We're not quite there. We have dropped back under 3,990. We're at 3,987. YouTube is asshole. They are not kind. So I appreciate everybody who made the effort to get me there this month. It was a stalwart effort. We did cross it at one point, and YouTube took it right away. So, but thank you everybody for helping. We'll try and get there in July. Once we get there, I think great things are going to happen. I have a good feeling about crossing over 4,000 legitimately and holding on to it. And hopefully the algorithm, with all its weirdness right now, will treat us a little bit better because we have so many good things we're going to bring to you guys. So many good things, so many exciting streams, so many fun activities where you guys can be interactive with us and enjoy it in general. Because one thing, and it's sort of as an aside to some of the talks I want to talk about today, just as a small comment, Jed, the woke era is ending. It's on its way out, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's why Ironheart feels so strange right now, because it feels like a relic from 5 years ago. We don't get stuff like Ironheart anymore when in the early 2020s or even 2019-ish, we were getting these on a regular basis. Like, everything that came out was Ironheart. Now, Ironheart feels like a lone ship on sea, like just so out of the blue. And I believe that's great evidence for the fact that the woke is going out. Now, that doesn't say that they're hiring talented people in Hollywood anymore, because that's still a massive problem, because I don't think Superman's going to be woke. I don't think Superman's going to be woke. I don't think Jurassic Park is going to be, or Jurassic World, more than a superficial level like girl boss shit or whatnot. But we're at a different level. I think we're on the decline, so there's still little stuff that we're going to roll our eyes around, but the entire plot is not going to hinge upon or be devastated by political themings anymore. But you still have the same writers that were doing all that woke stuff before. So without politics, they don't have anything else. So we're just getting soulless products now rather than offensive products. And that is a transition towards betterment in the future. But that transition phase, I think, is going to be very rough, especially for people like us, because we're going to call out this stuff still for being poorly written, like we've always done. You and I don't focus on the political stuff that much. No. We just focus on the writing, but we're still going to be accused of being, oh, you guys are stuck in the anti-woke mindset. You guys already won, leave it alone. These movies are good now. Like with the Thunderbolts, everyone was saying it's the greatest thing ever, and it's just a ripoff of the Suicide Squad. That's really all it is. It's just the Suicide Squad, and that's fine. But people who were calling it revolutionary and experimental, that's the thing I heard around it a lot, was Thunderbolts was experimental. No, it wasn't. It was just something different from Marvel, but that doesn't mean it was an experiment. And yeah, I think this transition phase is going to be hard for us in particular, because everyone tries to classify us, assign us into certain camps, but we don't like those labels like that. We don't like labels. That doesn't sound woke at all. But yeah, so people are going to keep trying to define us and put us in these other camps, and the fracturing of the industry and our sphere is going to continue until we get to a sense of normalcy. And I think you and I and the others in our little pocket of the internet will maintain our consistency through all of this, but our public perception, I think, will shift constantly as the public perception of what's going on in Hollywood shifts.
I can't disagree with anything you just said. And I agree. It's going to be a slow and difficult transition. The woke era has ended. Those who specifically built let's just say their entire social media persona and platform around fighting anti-woke, they're going to have a problem. Now, as you said, by simply what we participate in, reviewing stuff, analyzing stuff, talking about stuff, we discussed wokeism and how it broke the industry, how it ruined so many franchises. But that's like almost a byproduct of us criticizing horrible shows. Because even without the wokeness, every show we criticized and broke down, they had a myriad of other problems. Perfect example, Ahsoka. For all the third wave, fifth wave feminism crap shoved in there, for all the bullshit in there, it was still a bad show. Written badly, acted badly, directed badly. Special effects were bad. Costuming was bad. Makeup was bad. Everything was bad. And besides the fact that desecration to the lore, to the franchise of Star Wars. The wokeism wokeism has always just been a part of the problem. Was it a catalyst for everything? Sure. But it's still a part. And I agree with you again completely. There are a lot of people who are going to have a problem. We, not so much, because we do more than just talk about wokeism and how it's bad. We spend our time talking about things we like. We spend our time playing games. We spend our time having fun. I mean, let's be honest. I would say right now, overall, with all the crap I do literally 7 days a week on this channel right now, I would say 45% of it is now aimed towards dissecting the agenda, the wokeism, stuff like that. The rest of it is doing my best to promote things that are fun, whether it's gaming, whether it's one of the monthly shows, or whether it's now Daily Dive, which literally occupies my life every day. That show is whatever the audience wants. So whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's Dermy, whether it's anybody else that we stream a lot with, we're going to be fine in the end. It's going to be rough, but there's always going to be something to review. And honestly, I would love to go back to the point of I'm reviewing this and I'm making fun of it for being dog shit, not for being woke. So
I miss those days as well, where you could just talk about something being trash and people being united behind it being trash. Like the Fantastic Four movie from 2014, Fan Four Stick, it was a bad movie and everyone united into calling it shit. It was not a good film, but I fully believe if it came out during the woke era, it would be artificially inflated due to race swapping the Human Torch and decisions like that, and having a biracial Johnny Storm and Sue Storm, which just wild. And why? And it would be artificially inflated. People would pretend to like it, and anyone who said they didn't like it would be accused of being a racist and doing it for political reasons. Whereas back then, we could just call a bad movie for its own merits, and that is an era that I yearn for. We're not quite there yet. There's still going to be the people accusing us of doing these for political reasons, saying, "Hey, this movie was shit. Oh, well, you just don't like it because of this." No, it was still shit. There wasn't politics in it. And I think I am unusual in the sphere where I could say if leftist politics were included in a story, but done very, very well, I could be okay with an occasional woke movie from that mindset. It's the absolute taking over the industry where it feels like every single thing is like that and they're all poorly written. That's my problem with it. But if there was a well-written woke movie on occasion, I wouldn't have any problem with that. I don't think a lot of people would. It's all about the writing. That's where it comes down to me, is these people use politics as an excuse for bad writing, and that's something that I'm never going to be okay with. And so I get lumped in with the people who find politics everywhere where it's not. Like the people who are saying that Jurassic Park is going to be woke for the mere fact that Scarlett Johansson is the protagonist, which I'd have to see the film to know one way or another. The trailers don't look that bad, though.
Yeah,
Still looks like it's going to be dumb, like the cancer cure. That's bad writing. That's what I mean, not over the top.
And we're going to get into that today. We're going to get into it because part of today's show, we've talked about it a lot, but now it's here. We are 2 days away from July. The July box office rumble is here. And there are a lot of movies coming out, but only 3 matter. Jurassic World Rebirth, James Gunn's Superman, and Fantastic Four baby steps. That's all that matters, because those are the stories. And we're going to talk about that today. A little bit of an in-depth discussion, more. And even though it's Jed and I here only, and we said it before, we're at least we'll lock down our predictions if we feel like we can, based upon what the numbers we have. And I have numbers. So we'll do our predictions, and we can get everybody else to fill in their thoughts later on when they come back. Well, next weekend will be the beginning. Next weekend, we will be talking Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, I don't plan on seeing it, but I don't have to see it to talk about the numbers. But anyway, so we're talking about that. We have a few little fun things we'll get started with here, kind of warm us up. A little positivity. I know. Oh, my God. That's the other thing. Like you said, they want to always say we're negative. One of the things I get them with is you're just a rage click baiter. You're just baiting rage here. It's like, no, I actually am upset and angry. And half the times when they say that, I know I don't even raise my voice.
Yeah, you're just talking very calmly, like, yeah, this was poorly written for these reasons. Oh, you're just a rage baiter. And then when you and I come out and say that we love Expedition 33 to the level that we do, it's like, oh, you're cringe, you're overhyping it. That's something I've heard quite a lot. Like, there are people out there who refuse to play it because people say it's good. Now, that I think is ridiculous to a certain extent. Like, I get the idea.
I've done that with television. If people keep saying, watch this, I won't, but that's my personality.
But will you judge that person for liking something?
No.
Yeah, that's the difference. I believe that's the difference. But it ties into, I don't know if you heard the comments of the Hideo Kojima. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Okay. The guy who's making Death Stranding 2. Did you hear about his game testing that happened earlier this year?
No, but he is a troll. So whatever it is.
So apparently the game testers all gave the game like a 10 out of 10. Like, it was perfect response from all game testers. Mm-hmm. And he said, that's bad. I don't want people to like this game too much. I'm going to go intentionally into the game and ruin a few things so that it's not perfect, because if it appeals to everyone, it's not art.
Hideo Kojima, as brilliant as he is with game design, he's a effing troll.
That sounds so pretentious to me.
He's been at the top of the mountain for such a long time that his shit comes on a silver platter at this point. He's a genius game designer, but he is a troll, and he will say things just to fuck with people. That is just known at this point. But perfect example about whether or not people like something. For about 2 months, all I heard was everybody going, "Watch Mobland. Mobland is great. Watch Mobland." What do you think I did, Jed?
You didn't watch it?
I haven't watched Mobland. I'm not going to watch Mobland. But my dear sainted mother is watching Mobland. And she's saying everything else everybody else said. And everybody's enjoying it. I have no bad things to say about enjoying it, but I am still not interested. Even though my mom is one of the people I will respect the most in terms of her opinion on things, I'm still not interested in watching Mobland.
I'm the same way with Mobland, because I don't really care about crime dramas like that. I don't care about like mob movies. Like The Godfather is my perfect example. Godfather is obviously one of the greatest movies ever made, one of the best made movies. It's a mob movie though, so I have no interest in it. And that's the same thing with Mobland. It's like, hey, I'm really glad it's good. I'm glad there's good television out for people who are fans of that genre, and I hope it continues to be great for these people. It just doesn't appeal to me because it's not the genres that I'm into. So I hope Mobland continues to crush, because
it's got a season 2. It's got a season 2.
Its viewership was really good.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that built its viewership and built the hype for it. And again, my mom knows. Well, she didn't know who Tom Hardy was. I had to explain to her who Tom Hardy was, but she'd never seen Tom Hardy before, and she really likes him in the show. But of course, my mom knows who Pierce Brosnan is. She knows who Helen Mirren is, and some of the other people in there. She recognizes other British actors because she watches a lot of period pieces and old British TV shows. She recognizes a lot of people. She's having a good time, but she says these are horrible, horrible people, just like I've heard everybody say it in the show. But she says it's done really well, but I still just don't care, because unlike you, I do like mob stuff, but I've had it up to here with it. I'm not interested in crime stories anymore. I'm also not interested in stories where everybody's evil. I don't need that in my life right now. I don't feel like rooting for bad people and stuff. I'm tired of that. I want heroes. I want to root for good guys. And but one thing the show I hear does do right is these are all uncompromising villains. Each and every one of them. They're all the worst of the worst, and there's no bright side to it. So great. But to your point, I'm not going to criticize people for enjoying Mobland. My point is, I just don't want to be told that you have to watch this. You have to watch it. That's what I'm tired of. Because as I've told you this before, and other people that we hang out know, I'm not the kind of person where I want to watch things early. Going to a movie, that's different. But when it comes to like television, like if we all go to the movies, that's great. I've been doing that ever since a little kid, going to movies with friends and stuff like that. But when it comes to watching television and stuff like that, I need to find it on my own. And I want to watch it by myself, especially if I'm reviewing it. I can't have any outside influences tipping my opinion this way or that. I must have a fresh take. But I don't like watching stuff with people and to be told that you need to watch this, do this, that. It just pushes me away harder. And because of my mentality of I want to watch something by myself, I tend not to, at least I don't feel like I do. You can tell me if I'm wrong in saying this. I don't feel like I tell people to watch this. I'll just say something's good and then I'll move on.
Well, the perfect example of that is Stargate. Whenever it came up, you'd say, "Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it," but you didn't, pressure me to watch it. And then I decided on my own to check it out because I didn't have anything to watch at the moment, and I really, really enjoyed that franchise. Some issues at the end, obviously, but yeah, the first 5 seasons of Stargate SG-1 were just top tier television. And yeah, I might have had an adverse reaction to it if you had constantly told me to watch it. I might have gotten a false impression of how good it was and then been disappointed or decided not to watch it just because, oh God, is he talking about it again? But no, yeah, you definitely haven't ever done that with me, is over pressuring me to watch something you enjoy.
I mean, the closest thing I could say is when Dermy and I go down a weeb hole and we start talking anime too much, that we might gush, but I still don't feel like we pressure anybody to watch something. I just say, this one I watched this season, this is really good, really good. I liked it a lot. It's my recommendation. Then I move on. Because we did a little bit of that this week on Anime Odyssey. So when people do that, I don't want people to think that I'm shitting on people for doing that. People are enthusiastic. They want to share good things. I just personally feel like the hype pressure of telling people to go watch something over and over again, I find it oppressive and annoying. And I wish people would understand that there are people out there who get tired of being told to go watch this. Also, I think people have a problem with spoilers. When they enjoy something so much, they start to spoil shit because they're enthusiastic. And maybe you are thinking about watching it. Oh, I've heard this little thing now, and now I'm aware of it. I don't get to discover it on my own. I mean, I've been pretty good. For an example, I've been pretty good about hiding everything about Expedition 33 with you, right? I didn't spoil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There are some major spoilers to that game that I would have been upset if I'd found out beforehand and had not had the chance to find out them organically, especially the big twist at the end of Act 2, which I won't spoil here because everyone needs to go play that game. It would have really killed the moment for me if you had come out and said, yeah, this world is blank, but it would have really destroyed the experience for me.
All spoilers, I did was give you play style suggestions, try a build.
Yeah, gameplay stuff. I don't think anyone cares about gameplay spoilers.
Like, here's a weapon you need to be on the lookout for that'll make your life easier for a gameplay build. Talking about Mael, my opinion, Mael's best sword, which starts her in virtuous stance. I mean, that's the
quick expedition question.
Yes.
Do you think she should have been the main character? Because
she is the main character.
Well, I mean, the playable character. Well, when you go to camp, you're always one of the guys.
One of the two guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I because all the story funnels around her. I like the opening with Gustav. That had to be from his perspective, but maybe once you get out in the world, she's the POV character.
It's fine. I think the way they did it is fine because the way the story is, it's still, while Mael is a fulcrum of the story, it's still, I like the way they do it with the other characters. I think, and of course, when you're in the open world, you can be whoever you want. I like to be Lune because I like to float.
The floating is pretty nice.
It feels so nice to just fly around on all the stages. I'm always Lune in the open world and in dungeons because it feels cool. That's a very nice game mechanic right there. It feels different than running. It just does.
Well, everyone's run style is different. Like everyone has the distinct animation.
Yeah. Extras 33 is great. I enjoy it a lot. And without spoilers, there is room for a sequel if they want to do that. There is
There's
room.
room for a whole franchise.
Mhm.
Like they set up infinite possibilities for a game
Mhm.
franchise.
Yeah.
With that big Act 2 spoiler, it opens the possibility for a million different stories.
And everything else with like the universe that it's working in.
Mhm.
And so I look forward to what this team's going to do in the future. These are the good people from Ubisoft that left and decided to make something fun.
Now, I don't know how you feel about this, but because Expedition, or I guess we're already doing our Expedition thing that we teased that we might do.
Whatever.
How this game really, from what I've heard, gave Final Fantasy fans everything they wanted for the last 20 years.
Okay,
I've heard that a lot. But just to finish my thought, would you want them to continue in this play style or try to keep a uniqueness to each sequel? Like for example, this would not be a good one to do for a long time for them because they're Ubisoft ex-employees, but saying, all right, now we're going to give you the Assassin's Creed game that everyone wanted with the stealth mechanics being a central focus and shit like that.
All right, two things. One, you got to be very careful with the Square Enix discussion because there's a lot of bad, how do I put this? There's a lot of people out there who are misframing the Square Enix discussion when it comes to this. Bottom line, Square Enix has done a lot of experimentation for the past 20 years with the Final Fantasy franchise about how they're doing it. And it's currently mostly an action RPG oriented type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And add into that their previous diversification of different studios and different stuff like that, which cost them literally hundreds of millions of dollars in failure, which resulted in a retraction and restructuring of the entire parent company of Square Enix Japan, to the point now where they're focusing on just Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and a couple other things like that, and putting out a little bit of new stuff here and there, but they're really locked down. And people forget, and because Jeremy and I talked about this a little bit, Square Enix is also deeply involved in anime. If you watch a lot of anime, you'll see Square Enix is part of the credits. They have their fingers in a lot of anime titles. So they are doing right again. And they learned their lesson. People want to say Square Enix is one of the problems. No, Square Enix is like is exactly what you want a company to do. Get told you did something wrong and change. And
so the future for Final Fantasy might be good.
So now I had to set that up. But people are reframing it like Square Enix is angry and pissed off. Square Enix, to Dermy, who did the research on this, and there are articles out there now corroborating what he said, because Jeremy and I are on the same page when it comes to talking Square Enix. We want the truth and the accuracy to be out there. Square Enix said, good job, Expedition 33. We will now take this into consideration, maybe going back to old school JRPG mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a good thing. I think that while I have enjoyed various Final Fantasy titles over the years, I like 80% of Final Fantasy. You know, I have my opinions on some games, and I've been very critical at times, but I'm by no means a Square Enix apologist. I'm critical when they do bad stuff. We had those conversations on this show, on Mellow Monday, stuff like that. If Square Enix stopped, I mean, they got one more Final Fantasy VII remake chapter to go, which is going to be the same gameplay mechanics as they are now. So they got one more locked in there. But if they get around to Final Fantasy 17, it would not be a bad idea to put it in a more classic JRPG turn-based stuff, or turn-based with the old school Final Fantasy X active battle mechanics, which is where they premiered active battle mechanics, where it's turn-based and you're choosing menus, but the battle is still going. Battle doesn't pause. The enemies are still attacking you. And while you're turn-based, you have to think quickly on your feet. Now, you could turn it on and off. There is the option. But they would be wise to go back, in my opinion, to appease their original core fan base and to kind of, once again, show what they're really good at. Turn-based RPGs. They were the kings for the late 80s and through the 90s. Square Enix, then Squaresoft, were the kings of turn-based RPGs. So it would be a good thing, and they're open to it, which means they understand that people are, in a sense, tired of attempts at innovation all the time. Just give us what we know and like. And to your question about the Expedition 33 people, if they're within the franchise of Expedition 33, stick with what you just made. It's a nice hybrid of turn-based and active battle, where you get a moment to think about your strategy each turn, But then once you initiate it, you can't just be like this, leaning back in the chair.
Oh yeah, the dodge parry mechanic saved the game for me because I don't like turn-based. I find it very boring. Like Baldur's Gate 3 had a decent story. I enjoyed the story well enough, but the combat was so
that's old school
boring to me.
isometric top-down type of shit. That's real old school.
It doesn't work for me, but keeping the quick response times of the dodge parry mechanic kept me invested in the fight through the whole thing. It felt like I was involved, that I had control, that my skill actually played a role in how the fight
talk
turns out.
about dealing with it. Now, some of them, after repeated grinding and fighting, you know their mechanics, and you have a rhythm to it. And I developed tricks when holding the controller to get through it. But there are times, and now that you've seen it, at least a little bit of it, if you've seen Simon, and you only saw phase 1. You didn't see phase 2.
I saw 3 attacks from him. That's all it took.
I can block one of his phase 1 attacks, and I can dodge part of his phase 2 if I'm lucky. He is insane. And there are other bosses in Attribution 3 where good luck. I've got good reflexes, even in my elderly years right now. I've got good reflexes, honed over decades of playing. I have my limit in that game to dodging and parrying. If somebody can get all that shit, and I would assume like do a speed run on that game. I mean, it's possible to win this game at a very low level and be perfect at dodging and parrying, because then you just have to chip away at the HP. That would be insane with the amount of HPs on some of these bosses, but you could chip away if you are perfect at dodging and parrying. But I'm not. And I developed strategies of gameplay in that. For a while, it was boost my defense as much as I could so I could soak the damage. That was like the first half of the game for me. Then it was a speed build to just kill things faster. And then I did the speed build. I don't know if you have the Pictos. You probably do. The ones where when you die, you shield the rest of your team. You put shields on them.
I've seen them, yeah.
Yeah. That before the speed build at level 99 just became a dominant force where nothing's even going to touch me. Going down, and if one person goes down, shields everybody else, but then second chance, you're automatically resurrected. Suddenly, boom, everybody's shielded. You can take a few of those hits. And at the same time, there's also a few other ones where you can add shields, stuff like that. Or one of my favorites is with Lune. I basically chained it so that every time she healed, she mega buffs everybody with the Pictos, like Shell, strength buff, or powerful, speed buff, rush, all that stuff. And then every time she heals, like she has one ability called Tsunami, where it will, as long as she's active for a few turns, it will refresh her heal. And it's essentially, if you're doing it right, and it damages the enemy, it refreshes the buffs on everybody. So I did that for a while. Of course, came to a point where I never even had to worry about it, but that was a strategy for a while. So the game is innovative in the way that if you can't handle the dodge parry mechanics, there are ways to build your team, build your squad. Build the expedition.
Yeah, there's a ton of different play styles. Everyone can play it in an individual way.
Yeah, you could. There's so much to do in that game because there's so many Pictos and Lumina points to put things in there. So it's in there. The game has a lot of flexibility, and that's one of the reasons that makes this game great is you have flexibility to play how you want, depending on how good you are at certain parts of the game. So that makes it fun. And it makes it entertaining. And if they stick to that kind of style for this franchise to keep going forward, I say fine, stick with it. Don't try to be innovative every time.
I think they have a chance to, with the world building that we find out, that you can have different sections, like you're saying. Like this franchise of Expedition 33 could stay like this, but there's opportunities for a million spin-offs. And that's what I meant. Like if we keep with the Expedition 33 characters,
adjust appropriately per game. New mechanics based upon the abilities and powers of that world or that area or those protagonists or
Yep,
antagonists.
that's all I meant. Is making it a little bit different for these
Yeah.
off branches that the franchise mechanics allow for.
Yeah, I'm all for that. But don't try to break the mold every time. Like, they have a good thing going here, and I think they know it. And they've gotten and there's a lot of positivity around it. And these are the people who wanted to make a good game. And I think it's like there's only 33 of them. So keep
How
it
dare
small,
you
keep
say
it
that?
tight.
I don't know if you saw those articles. There was a lot of Access Media articles mad about that, and people are like, "You're just lying that only 33 people made it." No, 33 developers made it. They're still contractors, but developers.
Yeah, and you don't need 2,500 people to make a game.
No, you absolutely don't. And we have to call this an indie game, I believe, just because some people are saying that they had a distributor, so they can't be indie. I don't think that's the definition of indie. I don't think that's at all. They found their music person from SoundCloud, basically. A French Reddit page led to a SoundCloud page.
So good.
It's one of the best parts. But yeah, it's just some random dude. I think it was like a science teacher or something. Like, he's not a musician professionally, and they just found him on a Reddit, French type Reddit.
Fucking talented, man.
Same thing with the writer. They found the writer on Reddit. She went to Harvard and shit, but she's not a professional writer either. That's what makes this an indie game. This is just a bunch of people, a few professionals, a lot of people who it's more just their hobbies that they're really good at, and they came together to make this incredible. And then they got the attention of a big distributor to help give them the final influx of cash and distribute the game. This has to be an indie game.
Ready. The game was ready to be distributed. There was no problem. I mean, I played this game essentially. I played it about
when Kepler came involved, they weren't ready quite yet. Kepler did give them a shit ton of money. But yeah, it should launch.
When they went to everybody, when they went to Sony and everybody that distributed this for everything, the game was ready. Because I played this game about 3 weeks after launch, 3-4 weeks after launch. People were already gushing, and I thought, well, Lunar, my Lunar physical copy was nowhere in sight, and I thought, well, I need to play a game. I was going to hold off on Expedition 33 for a while, but my Lunar funds are available now. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to get my physical copy. Now, it took 3 weeks to get to me. So it took another 3 weeks for the game to get to me in a physical copy. So I was about almost 2 months behind everybody, the initial rush. But when it came out, I didn't hear a single thing about broken game.
Neither did I. They shipped it ready to go, which is shocking these days.
The game was done. And all they've done with the updates is tweak things. Let's add things. Let's put things in there. Let's clean a couple little things. A few graphical cleanup, like clipping and stuff like that. It's been cleanup, but there was no game-breaking shit going on. So guess what? You can make a game ready at launch with just a small team. The AA industry, the indie, and they are indie. AA is indie for the most part right now. These guys, they are hungry. They're making a lot of good games, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the gaming future right now. But don't sleep on and don't give shit to the remaining big corpos like Square Enix Japan. Not Square Enix America. They got problems. But Square Enix Japan, they figured out, they understood the problem, and they have done their best to fix it over the past 2 years. And they are going to go forward trying to return to a good gaming experience. There are ones out there. Not everybody is like Capcom, who are just ready to keep shooting themselves in the foot every time. So there are some of the companies out there will still make good games and will survive the coming AAA purge, because it's coming. The AAA industry is gonna.
Ubisoft has to be first. Ubisoft and EA, I think, need to be the first two.
EA, I don't know. EA might be too big. They just might continue to exist as a giant zombie. Is the thing. That's the problem. They're big, but so a lot of coming.
I do have a question though. Yeah. What topic are we supposed to be talking about? I completely forgot.
Now, we went off. No, we went off the reservation. Well,
that's what I mean. Like, where did this start? How do we get back on track?
It started about wokeism going away, and we were still gonna have so much to talk about. And we just proved with this segment it evolved naturally into a positive discussion about something we like. We made our point without even trying to make our point, that we don't need to exist to constantly talk about woke is bad. We could talk about fun things, which we will strive.
And we're not rage baiting. We actually like some things.
Yeah. So, but we do have to, we got 44 minutes out of all of that. I'm happy. Let's talk about some actual news and stuff. Let's start with something else that is fun. Let me see if I can choose the right here. Here we go. I liked this right here, and I know you saw this. So it's just me and Jed. So of course, without anybody else to worry about, we're going to talk a little Doctor Who because we don't have to. And this is positive Doctor Who. I really dug this. Peter Davison came out and said, talking about Shooty Who era. It's like watching a trailer for Doctor Who show you'd like to watch later. There are huge gaps in the narrative. They're just leaping onto the next bit and hoping your brain fills in the rest. Damn.
Dude, Peter Davison just continually proves why he deserves to be amongst the greats. Like, his name is rarely brought up when it comes to the top 3 best doctors, or he usually gets top 5 maybe, but he people sleep on him a lot. Like, he was great in the role. His writing had some issues, obviously, but it's shocking to me that he's able to do this, that he's willing to do this when his daughter is one of the wokest people on the planet. And his son-in-law is David Tennant, who is on board with all of this and helped participate with all this. And I do believe part of his wokeism is because of his wife and now his trans son or non-binary stepson or whatever that is. But yeah, being related to David Tennant to that degree, I would imagine that most people would be like, all right, I won't publicly diss the thing that you were, as of a couple years ago, actively involved in. But Peter Davison decides he wants to be honest. And he had similar comments about Billie Piper being the Doctor a couple weeks ago, saying, yeah, I don't think she's the Doctor. There's going to be something weird pulled out of an asshole for that. He didn't say it like that. But generally, he's one of the few people willing to be honest from this franchise's history. And that's very refreshing to me. Some people are silent, which I'm okay with. Like, Tom Baker doesn't say shit anymore. He's just enjoying the twilight of his life, and who can fucking blame him for that? Colin Baker, he usually actually says negative things, so that or things in support of the modern stuff, just like his companions and Mel and whatnot.
Colin Baker being negative. Wow, because I mean, his doctor was negative.
And a lot of the classic doctors are quiet, and I respect that absolutely. That's probably the wisest business decision to make, but it is nice that at least one of them is coming out and saying, yeah, maybe we were better in the past.
This is a well-spoken statement.
Yeah,
saying
absolutely.
That this is a story where I can see where this could be good, but you're basically not telling a story, and you're asking the fans to basically write it themselves with headcanon. And you shouldn't. We're always going to headcanon stuff, but we only do that when we're trying to either have a fantasy or a fanfic, or if something complete doesn't make sense and we're trying to understand it. And a fan shouldn't have to do that. A story, especially if it's completed itself, there should be no room for the brain to have to fill stuff in.
Yeah, there could be fun stuff like theories, like he said, like, oh, you mentioned this other story. How did that come to place? What's the backstory for this character that wasn't relevant? Stuff like that's always going to happen. Is a lot of fun. But if you have to behave that way for the events of the story, like, how did this person get here? There's no means of transportation across an ocean in 3 days, Rings of Power. And just shit like that. You fundamentally failed as a writer. And it's great to see him pointing that out.
And Jed, I still have one question for you with Shooty Who. The TARDIS exploded. What happened when the TARDIS exploded at episode 7?
The flux killed all the universe and just half the universe. What the hell happened there?
Yeah, how did they fix the flux? There are in the post Peter Capaldi eras, there are always these questions that are just left out there that they just forget about.
They
or
don't care about. Like at David Tennant's in the 60th anniversary in the second episode, he mentions the flux. It's like half the universe is dead, and I feel kind of bad about it. And then it's like never mentioned again. Killing half the universe would weigh on the Doctor more than the Time War did.
Yeah, and we saw what that did to him.
We saw what that did to him, and it affected 1,500 years of his life, roughly, until the day of the Doctor when he found out what actually happened. That's a huge part of his life dedicated to killing one species instead of half the universe with trillions of species, billions of species wiped out and genocided. Yeah, the Doctor would care more than, I kind of feel bad that the flux happened and some people died, and then forgetting about it. This just isn't the Doctor. That's a narrative leap that we had to fill in gaps for. and none of them were able to justify. That's probably the worst of it. Is there's no fanfic, there's no fans filling in the gap that can accurately justify any of the insane things that happen. It's not just missing holes; it's holes that cannot be filled in a logical, cohesive manner. That's probably worse because like BVS. I've been talking a lot about BVS in the last couple of weeks. A lot of the holes in that movie could be explained with fan fiction. Doesn't help the movie at all, but they could be explained. The Doctor Who stuff, no matter what explanation you come up with, it causes more problems than it fixes. There's no cohesive way to stitch that monstrosity back into a doll.
And we've talked about fixing a lot when it comes to this stuff. We're saying, please back several Brinks trucks up Peter Capaldi, say we're sorry. Can you give us a little more? We can fix this. But there's always the question. Peter Capaldi might be too old. He might not be able to do it. Can he really do it? He came out recently on stage for a music festival performed. I see number 12 right there. He still got it, man. Peter Capaldi could step right back into it right now, and he could do it. And it's been how many years? It's been 5 years, hasn't it?
It's been longer than that. He left in 2017, so 8 years.
It's 8 years later.
Probably 7 with it being the end of 2017, the Christmas special. So we'll say 7.
He could still do it today. Look at that man on stage performing. That is the Doctor. And he's wearing the sunglasses on purpose. He's wearing those sunglasses totally on purpose. He did that.
I hated those sunglasses, but I do like him honoring them.
I hated it, but the Sonic sunglasses were terrible. But he's doing that on purpose because he's saying, I can still do this. I can still do this.
Well, and he's constantly talking about how he won't come back, though. I think he is so burned that it would take a truck full of money, like you're saying. And I think more important than the money. I think that's more important than the money. I think the next showrunner needs to sit down with him and really tell him his plan, his vision, and convince him that the new showrunner actually loves Doctor Who as much as Peter Capaldi does, because Peter Capaldi is the biggest fan of the show who ever starred in it, without comparison. Like, David Tennant was a fan growing up, but nowhere near to the level of repeated fan mail that Peter Capaldi sent out. Like, he was a diehard as a child, and you need a showrunner who's able to convince him that they're going to continue the legacy of the Doctor in a positive way and erase everything after Peter Capaldi. That would be a huge thing. I would give him creative control. I was like, you and me, we are going to sit down and write your return, and you have equal say to me about how we handle it.
Yep. But I see this, and we had the question, can he still do it? I see this. Yes, he can still do it.
Absolutely.
He can still. He is looking like a man who would easily slip right back into it with the right showrunner, the right atmosphere, the right promises. And I agree with you. Give him writing credits. Give him some control, creative control. Let him put the ideas in there, because especially with the idea of we're going to, and I guarantee, if ever a true showrunner emerges again, a true showrunner, somebody who wants to do justice to the franchise. And we've said this over and over again. In our very first discussion ever on our very first live stream ever, we both agreed Doctor Who is the easiest thing to slip in and fix from its breaking point. Easiest one with the rules of that universe. We will erase everything from your regeneration, and nobody would care. Because the real fans would go, yes, we're ready. It would be an opportunity to bring back true Whovians, because the remaining shooty Who, new Who fans, they aren't anything. They're stands. They're ideologues. They don't care. They don't actually care about the show. They cared about hijacking it and making it into something that is unrecognizable, which it is now. It's unrecognizable. So I wanted to add this into this conversation, seeing Peter Capaldi. This is from like a week ago on stage at this concert where he came out and performed with the guys, the band that was there. He could still do it, and that gives me that ever so fantastical, fanciful belief of maybe someday we could get it back, because he could come back, give us one more small run. Wouldn't have to be a season, just a handful of specials, just to bridge and fix what happened there and give him one more great adventure as the Doctor, to give him a proper send off, not having us think, "Doctor, I let you go." Is no, don't let him go. Don't let him go. We
I mean,
want you
if
back.
by the point it comes back, he probably won't be able to do it because of how far in the future that would be. I think we just need a little bit of him in the regeneration scene. Give us the bridge to someone besides Jodie Whittaker, and that would all we need. In bare minimum, I think that's what we would need him to come back and film. If he could come back for more, and you could write in a reason why
One
he's
episode,
so much older,
one special. I'd be satisfied with one more special of what did the Master just try to do to me. You know, what did somebody just try to do to me? What did Rassilon just try to do to me? Something like that, you know?
Well, the Master was already involved in the story right before Twice Upon a Time, and Twice Upon a Time led directly into it. Have John Sim not leave the planet, follow the Doctor, and have some plan surrounding that. It's easy. It's built in.
Yeah, there's so many easy options to just have it be effing around, and then boom, I didn't regenerate. Oh my God, this is a horrible what if. This is me coming close to becoming the Veil Yard. Or some shit like that. You know, there's so many things to do. And I would love it. I'd be there for it. Because in the modern Who era, I enjoyed Capaldi the most because of his performance. He didn't have some of the best adventures, but his performance to me is what puts him in my top tier. Because I just loved every second of what he gave me as the Doctor. I loved it all. Okay, we got our Doctor Who fix. That was fun. I enjoyed that. And look, it was positive. It was positive. Now,
dude, when Nerdgasm comes out for Doctor Who, no one will be able to accuse us of being negative.
No,
we will drown you in positivity for that stream.
Yeah. I've heard of it, Hussein. I've heard of it.
That's the one where he's a serial killer.
Yeah, he's serial killer. It's like a Hannibal Lecter type thing where somebody's using him to solve some crimes, but they don't let him out. I've heard of it. I haven't been interested in it, but I have heard of it.
From the trailers, it looked like he was giving a fantastic performance, though.
Yeah, that's what he does. Gives great performances. Now, let's get some actual news. Okay, so as we said, we are on the threshold of the July box office rumble. Only 3 movies matter. Jurassic Park Rebirth, James Gunn's Superman, and Fantastic Four Babies.
Well, hold on. F1's actually good, though. Why doesn't it matter?
All right. Well, here's the thing. Let's get into that. We do have one that's June. We're not in July yet, but let's go over the remaining box office up because as of next weekend, no other movies matters because Jurassic Park Rebirth will crush everything in the box office next weekend, starting for the July 4th weekend. That's just a given. It's a given. But right now, as we predicted last week, Lilo and Stitch only added roughly another 10 million. Not even. Sorry, 6 million.
Oh, and we were right. It dropped below 1 million for the day, I believe. For a weekday, or below the 2 million to the 1 million.
It went below 2 million twice. So we predicted correctly.
It's not a whole lot of money.
It's not going to cross $1 billion. It has lost all its steam momentum. And that's fine. Disney's made.
They've more than justified the sequel. I don't think the sequel should exist, just like I don't think this one should exist, but they've justified the sequel.
Here's the problem, and I mentioned this during the week on Daily Dive. They are going to do the sequel, but here's the problem. Are they going to follow the lore?
No.
Because if
it didn't release in theaters, they don't believe it's legitimate. I fully believe that's true, that it will be seen as non-legitimate. The TV shows, the TV movies, the direct-to-VHS sequels or whatever.
There were two direct movie. One was the direct to VHS. The other one was a direct release on like Disney Channel, with all connected to the series that went for several seasons. And if they go away from that and make something original based upon what this did, the second movie will flop.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no connection then. There's no connective tissue.
This movie survived on nostalgia. You don't base it on anything, nostalgia fades.
And what we have here is everybody went to see it once. There was no repeat viewings of this, not really. Because of the backlash, I think. It hit hard enough that it didn't get it. So this has reached its end. It made at least $500 million. Great. Too bad Elio wiped all that out now. Too bad Elio wiped all that out with its pathetic.
It's so bad.
It's pathetic 56 million worldwide after 2 weeks on its $150 million budget, which I'll
That's
believe it when I
2
see it.
weeks now. It's been out for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2
Oh
weeks.
my god.
2 weeks. No international numbers. Nothing. Nobody's losing. So they're going to lose $200 million on this movie easily. $200 to $300 million is
That's
easily
so
on this
bad. That's way worse than even I thought it was gonna be.
Oh yeah, this is the worst flop ever for that. So you add that. You add in the losses on Black Falcon, Captain America, Thunderbolts, Snow White. Disney's in the red for their movies this year so far. They're deep in the red. Freaky Friday will not get them out of it.
I don't even think that's gonna make money because its budget is like 60 million, isn't it? I don't think there's enough.
And that's got some agenda stooped in there from the trailer that I saw. It's not going to be as safe as I originally thought it was. At the same time, so Disney has a problem. We're going to talk about Fantastic Four in a minute because we have some numbers. I dug up some numbers for that. Finally, they're going to be in the red. The only thing that will get them out of the red when it comes to movies will be at the end of the year, Avatar 3, because Avatar 3 will make $3 to $4 billion, and that's, to me, that's not how you run your movie business. Hoping and praying that Avatar at the end of the year will essentially get you to get you a little bit over break even. Because Fantastic Four baby steps, as we talk about in a minute, it's barely, if at all, going to break even. And I don't think it will. Anyway, so here we got Lilo and Stitch. It's done. We don't talk about it anymore because now, as of next week, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Didn't hit $1 billion. Story over. It got its sequel. We'll rip on the sequel 2 years from now when it comes out. That's going to be a problem, too, because that little girl's going to grow up. And the story of Lilo and Stitch overall happens like within a year or so.
Yeah, they're going to have to film immediately to keep up with her. Or do the story about her going to college or some shit by the time they get around to it.
Yeah, so, I mean, Lilo and Stitch is a contained timeline. It doesn't go on for years. The hunting of the rest of the experiments and all that kind of stuff. So they're going to have to get to that quickly because that little girl, she's like 8 or 9. She's going to hit puberty and grow up in an instant.
Do you think they'll have Stitch grow up with her? Or will he stay the same?
No, he has the same. Stitch is fully formed as a creature.
Well, I know in real lore, I'm wondering if they're going to try to go the Baby Groot route where every movie has a different version of Groot.
That would be dumb. That would be dumb. Then you'd ruin any chance at nostalgia baiting then at all.
You don't want to see a 6 foot tall, 7 foot tall, roided out Stitch fighting people.
I'm not a furry.
But you like big men.
I miss good basketball. That's my answer to that now. That's my answer to that. They tried last night during the gaming stream to throw that one at me, and I said, I miss good basketball. But yeah, so Disney's in trouble. Let's check in on How to Train Your Dragon. Respectable. Respectable. Yeah. It's just about to hit break even right about now. It's within its break even window, but it's falling fast.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know if it's going to make 600. It's going to make profit, but
it's going to make a little profit.
Yeah,
it's going to make its break even was around 450, 500, and it crossed 450 now. So I would say it's in its break even window.
Yeah,
but it's not going to make a whole lot of money.
No, not a whole lot more.
And
because it's international is I think what they were hoping on a lot because these CGI heavy action movies, international usually carries them, but their international is really not doing the trick at this point. And with only 14 million or whatever it was for domestically, we're really going to struggle to get to 550 or 600 at this point.
And it's had a full international release. It's had a full international release. So. Here's the
19,
thing, though.
Excuse me, not 14.
I don't think it's justified the sequel that they're going to do.
I don't think so either. I really don't think so.
Because think about it like this. If you're going to want to continue to try and capture the proper nostalgia, you're going to have to get Kate Blanchett, and she ain't cheap. Kate Blanchett ain't cheap.
And just fundamentally, I believe to justify a sequel in a business sense, not a creative sense, you should at least make enough profit to pay for the next movie's budget.
True.
This movie cannot pay for the next movie's budget with how much it's made.
Nope. And who made this? This was Paramount, right?
Universal.
Universal,
Or it's DreamWorks under Universal, I
DreamWorks.
believe.
Okay, DreamWorks Universal. Okay, you're right. Yeah, of course. Epic Universe. Stupid. I'm not working on all cylinders today. Leave me alone. Yeah. So Universal. I mean, they have the money, but yeah, I agree. I like your sentiment on that. If you're gonna make a sequel, your original movie should pay for the sequel.
And Lilo and Stitch absolutely did that. That is enough
Yes.
to pay for it, unless they funnel off all the money to pay for all the flops this year.
To pay for, yeah, well, you have to balance the books somehow. And so congratulations on a remake that was literally a remake, essentially. It's respectable, but
it's better than it could have been. Still doesn't justify its existence.
And in the end, my adjusted numbers, once we heard it was the real movie and not a total bait and switch, I was right. This thing was going to make around what it's going to make. It might cross 500 million, and that'll be about it. That's going to be about it. It's not going to get. Some people were saying 750. No. Especially next weekend. This movie becomes irrelevant next weekend. It becomes irrelevant next movie, and unfortunately, because what I hear, it's being very well received. F1 everybody likes it. They say it's a solid movie if you're into cars or this kind of stuff. But on a budget of, I looked it up, over $300 million.
Yeah, at least is what we're looking. 300 to 400 is what we're looking at.
This movie will not make a profit at all. It won't even sniff its break even. It'll probably be somewhere around $100 million, when all is said and done. And that's a shame, because I hear that from people who enjoy it, who are into stuff, that it's a solid movie. It delivers on its promises of what it should be.
It's from what I've heard, it's a good sports movie, but sports movies have always understood that they have a niche audience, and so they've had cheap budgets. And if this movie had a $50 million budget, that would be equatable to the potential audience that it had. But for some reason, they thought that how big F1 is in Europe would be enough to make this a $1 billion movie. And sports fans and movie fans are different. There will not be, not every sports fan will want to watch a sports movie. They aren't necessarily 100% crossover. So I think they overestimated the popularity of Formula One driving, and they should have kept the budget low on this. There are ways you could have done it without using the real cars, because I think that really jumped up the price.
But
I love the idea for practical.
I respect them for that.
I do respect the practical effects, but at a certain point, the economics of the situation need to override it and have a balance to be the most economic. And that's their falling. And I think Brad Pitt was too big of a star as well, probably way too expensive. Having the real drivers in it is way too expensive. It was a perfect storm for being a financial disaster from its inception, I believe. But now, I'm glad people are enjoying it. Yeah. It probably won't get a sequel, though.
It's not going to, but it'll go on to have a place on people's shelves and people's enjoyment. This will have this will probably become a sports movie cult classic, I think, that people will say, oh, let's watch this movie. It's a good movie. And they'll enjoy it. And it'll go on and it'll live in history as that. But in the reality of economics, it's going to be a financial failure.
Now, if what they're talking about in the chat is true, I don't know if that's going to work, but that is an interesting angle where the idea was to break into the Formula One, into the American zeitgeist. Because I only know a few people who watch Formula One in the States. I know one guy who I grew up with who watches it religiously. Like, he's as big a fan as nearly anybody else in Europe, but it's not that big here. So that might be a reason to justify it. If this is just a marketing push, if this whole movie is just a marketing scheme to make F1 popular here, just like baseball going to
it's a gamble.
Asia.
It's a gamble.
It's a gamble, but it's an interesting one.
I mean, out of the people I hang out with, I know only one person right now who told me in a discussion a week ago flat out that they were excited to go see this movie. One person. And either way, but they're going to enjoy it and people enjoying it. So it's a good movie that will likely go down as a financial failure. It happens. And it'll find its place in history. And if Rolando is right, then it may be just a gimmick to get people into the sport in America. Gamble, we'll see if it pays off. Personally, I'm not into racing, never have been into racing. It's just not my thing. I don't even like racing.
NASCAR is so boring. 500 laps is too much. Give me 50 or 100 laps. I'll enjoy the hell out of it. I've been in person a couple times with free tickets, and it's fun for the first
In-person
30,
stuff is
45
different than
minutes.
watching on TV. It's always a different
I'm not a big
experience.
fan of in-person sports because
Uh-huh.
I'm not a big fan of sports, so the experience doesn't do it for me. But yeah, NASCAR being a fifth of the length could make me a NASCAR fan, at least to enjoy going to it occasionally. But 500 laps is too long.
I've just never been a fan of racing. I don't even like racing games. It's not my thing. It just isn't. But all right, so February. So these are the movies that are out and just came out, and in about literally 7 days, or let me be more accurate, 4 days, because as soon as we hit Wednesday, Thursday, all bets are off for everything else because the rumble of July begins with Jurassic World Rebirth, the first of the triple threat match. Early reviews say this movie is hot garbage. Jed, are we surprised?
No.
No. The previous movies were hot garbage, but they each made over $1 billion because dinosaurs. Everybody say it with me, dinosaurs. And even though some people are kind of down on the Downtosaurus Rex that is coming out, it's not going to change anything. I really think. Now, here we go now, but here we go. So right now, Jurassic World's budget is $180
Really?
million. They say it's $100 million, but the marketing campaign, they say, pushes it over $300 to $400 million.
That's wild that the initial budget is only 180. I was thinking at least 250, 300 before marketing, but if it's 300 with marketing, I think it could break even though, if that's the total, unless they're saying that it's because that's a lot for marketing though. That is really a lot for marketing.
Now they're also, I believe, saying that did I delete it or did I put up something? Hang on a second. Here we go. Yeah. So the long range projections. Let me switch screens here. I didn't have those up there. The long range projections for Jurassic World Rebirth have it starting a little low at least this one. What I found, they're saying 5 day. This is July 4th weekend, which is a brilliant thing to do. Drop this movie on July 4th weekend. Everybody's going to have 4 or 5 day weekends starting on Wednesday. A lot of family time. 150 million domestic.
The movie that should have come out this weekend, though, is Superman.
Yeah.
Keep in the American way and do Superman. The patriotic people will love to go see
But
a patriotic
they didn't keep that
movie.
in there. It's not in
right.
there.
That's what I mean. So it's irrelevant now, but that could have made Superman a juggernaut if they kept the American stuff and released it on 4th of July.
So they're saying that this could have 150 million domestic, 130, 150 million domestic. Worldwide, they don't ever predict worldwide. Worldwide would likely be at least a half as high, maybe even double that, because dinosaurs. So
especially internationally, these movies traditionally do better internationally than domestically.
We're looking anywhere if these are predicting to be if these predictions are believable. We're looking at worldwide. Rebirth could have upwards of a 350 to $400 million opening weekend.
That's very fair. That's very fair. I think that's a conservative estimate.
Yeah, because it's and listen, it's a holiday 5-day thing, but that's just good strategy to drop it on July 4th weekend for domestic. Rest of the world, they don't give a shit. But
dude,
for America,
this movie has a chance to make more in its first 2 weeks than Baby Steps makes in its entire run.
Yes. And that's the point. People are going to go see this movie, and it's going to be off to a rocket start. And if it's crossed 6 or 7 by week 2, which could very well easily cross 6 by week 2, it will make $1 billion because it will then just carry on because it's still going to be another week and a half before Superman cuts into it. So let's go. Let me switch windows again. Let's go back to the numbers. So we are at Jurassic World first. We know it's coming out on July 2nd. Previews will probably start on July 1st. Either way. So that's happening. We know it's budget. Now, here's the thing, though. With one last word on Jurassic World, just for a commentary I want to have as we talk about all these movies. With this, I'm starting to believe that even if Jurassic World crosses $1 billion, it might not make that much money.
Well, it all depends on if that $330 million is the marketing budget or the combined budget.
It says including marketing here. It says
including marketing. So its break
Yeah.
even point would be
8, 7, 8, somewhere around 7.
Well, no. We don't need to do the 2.5 because marketing's
okay.
included. So we just need to double it. So 660, 700 is where we need to go for it. Because, that 2.5, the 0.5 is for marketing. But we have marketing included here.
I don't believe it's 180. I think it's probably more like 200.
Yeah. So we can say 700 as a reasonable break-even point. So if it makes 400 some odd million opening weekend, it'll probably break even, but I do agree with you. Its profit margins are going to be very slim because that's an insane marketing budget. I had no idea because the marketing in it is average. Like seeing it out on the streets, I see Superman way more than I see Jurassic Park.
The Superman marketing has been insane. And we're going to talk about Superman marketing as we talk about this because that's a whole different story. Superman comes out on July 11th. They claim their production budget is $225 million, which we know is bullshit. We know it's bullshit. They want. The over here says that it's going to say that the $363 million was initially reported based on test credits, but James Gunn's a liar. We did a whole segment.
He lies constantly. Yeah, the tax filing is way more legitimate than him just saying that or the production studio releasing that. So I believe the 300 to 63 and then reshoots that we know happen. I'd say the budget is 400 pre-marketing.
It's 400.
That's my bet.
Which means with the and we don't know the marketing.
The marketing's got to be massive. I'd say 150 alone on it.
This movie needs probably 1 to 1.1 to break even.
It needs to be $1 billion movie to be called break even. Not even to be called a success. It needs 1.5 to be called a success, and to justify the cinematic universe, 1.5 is what it needs to justify.
This
the DCU.
thing could bring in $700 million gross in the end, and that would be a failure because it's losing at least $300 to $400 million at that point. And that's the thing. Superman has to be a winner. It has to be a winner. But it's controversial right now. There is so much surrounding this. I showed this to Jed yesterday. He's already seen it, but you guys might not have seen this. And we have something additional now, too, that dropped today. They released a clip. They keep releasing clips. Give me back my dog! There was that.
This clip is so bad.
It's so bad. Yet I've been... The people trying to tell us, you don't understand. Superman could be angry. I'm not getting into that. You guys have heard my take on that. Alone, on stream, on Ballbusters. I've given that take multiple times now. But then this dropped yesterday. Now we're going to play this. We'll try and get through it. I didn't get hit for the other clip on stream, so I don't think I'll get hit for this. We'll try. If we do, send super chats to unbalance it, please. Now, otherwise, we might get caught. We might get claimed on this. So super chats will help us survive. Let's listen to this. Jed has seen this. I'll stop it at the appropriate points. This is Superman in the Fortress of Solitude. It's early on in the movie because look, he doesn't have battle damage yet on his suit. That's how it's the only way I've been able to track some what's going on
and he doesn't have eye damage because his laser eyes hurt his eyes.
Yeah, apparently.
His heat vision causes physical damage.
Now, just let's listen to this and then we'll comment on this.
What is this? Crypto! What the hey, dude?
What the hey, dude?
Oh, that's just all-American speak for you. That's what someone who lives in New York thinks people in Kansas talk like.
No, he's from Missouri here in this one. He's not from Kansas. He's from Missouri.
What?
Well, that's a Missouri farm. The Kent farm is a Missouri-type farm, according to James Gunn. That's not a Kansan farm. When you want to hear Dermy go crazy, I mentioned this. He has a meltdown every time I mention this.
It's so important to be from Kansas, the heartland of America, the center of America.
But point is, hey, what the hey, dude? I'm immediately pulled out of this when I hear that. This is just James Gunn wrote this script. James Gunn wrote this script. This is more evidence that the dialogue is garbage in this. And Cornswallet, I am less and less impressed by his performance every time. And then remember, there's digital crypto. Digital crypto. Let's keep going.
I thought you destroyed the whole Superman robots. I thought I told you to keep an eye on him.
Superman robots.
Why would he call them that? Because isn't the name Superman given to him by humans?
Yes. At the same time, his robot attendant is called Cal-X. not Superman robots that just keep being churned out to take care of the Fortress of Solitude. And they all have capes. Look at them. They all have capes.
That's just the fashion of Krypton.
James Gunn is so out of his depth with this. He doesn't know what he's doing. And then this dialogue here is just, to me, very weak.
We feed the canine, but he is unruly. And he realizes we are not flesh and blood and couldn't, in our heart of hearts, care less whether he lives or dies.
At this point, I could care less whether Crypto lives or dies, because he's a CGI dog. So there's this clip, and there's another follow-up one where he's trying to leave, and Crypto wants to play, and he doesn't want to play. Crypto is going to be nauseatingly too much in this movie.
He's going to be the real villain of the film for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And it's Crypto is going to be part of the reason this movie fails. James Gunn thinks he's going to appeal to dog owners. Jed, you are a dog owner.
I am.
You are
a dog owner.
Is this melting your dog owner heart? Is this melting your dog owner heart at all?
It's pissing me off because this dog is not trained. Like, this is day one puppy mentality. A real dog owner would be able to train out a lot of this behavior. And Crypto's not supposed to be a puppy, is he?
That's a full-grown dog.
Yeah, no, it's an untrained dog, and that pisses me off. My puppy, who is 4.5 months old at this point, is better behaved than Crypto. With or without the superpowers, like on scale, you know.
So James Gunn has gambled with this movie that dog owners are going to go, "Oh, puppy," and that's going to forgive everything. He thinks he's going to get the dog reaction of dog owners, and I think, with you as just an first example right here, I think it's going to piss off dog owners more. And then there's a sect of dog owners and Crypto fans who are saying it's not the wrong breed crew. Who are
because it's James Gunn's dog.
Exactly.
He's basing so much off of his own experiences, his own likes, like which Robin he's going to pick. It's all about him. Yep. And that's not the right perspective for a cinematic universe. That's okay for passion projects, for things that don't exist before you create them. This is an example. This isn't an example of that. Yeah. Dog owners love good boy dogs. Like, you're like, all right, that dog did good. Oh, good boy. You don't like, God damn it, stop making a fucking mess. That is not what dog owners are attracted to. If Crypto were like a good little boy, just trots up nicely and everything's spick spam in the Fortress of Solitude, that would make dog owners go, oh, he could destroy it and he didn't. Oh, what a good boy. That's the perspective. Or him swooping in to save the day, being a good guard dog. It's the good boy that gets the dog owner reaction, not the he's a spoiled brat who destroys everything.
Yep. I mean, perfect example. I'm not a dog owner. Everybody else can have their dogs. I just don't want a dog in my house. It is not something, I don't dislike dogs. I just don't want them in my home. Last time when we were playing Dark Tide, my dog in the class, every time he jumped and just murdered a shotgunner or a flamethrower or a sniper, I just went, good boy.
See, good boy mentality. This dog was designed to appeal to people who aren't pet owners, who have romanticized the idea of being a dog owner.
Yeah. So Crypto is going to be part of the reason I think this fails, because James Gunn thinks it's James Gunn's quirky bullshit humor. I'm going to include a quirky dog in this, and everybody's going to love me for it. No, they aren't. And then, of course, also, one part of this Superman marketing campaign, which we have talked about repeatedly and incessantly for the past several months, as it's just when one disaster after another, is in part because James Gunn can't keep his goddamn mouth shut. He makes it worse every time. Have you seen the latest blurb from James Gunn today, Jed?
The glasses?
The glasses. James Gunn confirms his Clark Kent wears hypno glasses as his disguise. The glasses have always bothered me. I don't have that much suspension of disbelief. I was sitting with Tom King, the man who ruined Batman, the man who ruined Supergirl. He said there's an answer for that in the comics. It's canon. No, it's your bullshit.
It's probably King. Rebirth or some shit. New 52.
It's Tom King era bullshit. His generation of writing crap where they ruin shit. hypno glasses. And that if James Gunn if he says right there, I don't have that much suspension of disbelief, you're the wrong man to be writing Superman. Because part of the understanding is that, and you know what, actually Smallville did a really good explanation that it's the glasses plus physical behavior.
It's all about the performance. Christopher Reeves is got to be the pinnacle for Clark Kent, more than even just Superman, because of the physical changes. That's what we need, is a talented actor and a talented writer. And you pointed out right there, he's the wrong person of the job because he has no suspension of disbelief. I am also like that. I think the glasses are kind of cringe unless they're paired with a great performance. And at the same time, I know that's why I would never direct Superman or write Superman. A good creator needs to be able to recognize where his weaknesses are and the type of products that he's good for. That's what I've said from the beginning. James Gunn, I think, is a talented writer and director when he's in his niche. Exactly. And he's fantastic in his niche, like Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad and his own original stuff. But when he tries to do something outside of his niche, it's a disaster like this. He should have been able to say, hey, I can't make Superman. I would make it too goofy and funny and stupid. Let's find somebody else who's better for the job. But consistently, the problem with this movie, like I said, everything's about him in the cinematic universe. His ego is his greatest enemy. James Gunn is his greatest enemy in this case because he could have created a great cinematic universe. He had a lot of input in the the Infinity Saga and a lot of the big plot points and even other movies besides Guardians of the Galaxy because he wasn't directly involved in those. He could not have made Infinity War good. That movie, if it had been directed by James Gunn, would have been awful. And he still had good input on that. If he had taken that mentality to the DCU, that universe could have been fantastic. But his ego got in the way, and then his ego got in the way, and then his ego got in the way. And if you can't understand how to make the glasses work without contriving some science fiction garbage, then you're the wrong person for Superman. And I'm the same way. I would try to come up with some explanation for it, and that would be why I was wrong to be the Superman writer. A good creator needs to be able to recognize that.
And you mentioned it. Christopher Reeve made Clark Kent bumbling so that you're not doing, you understand it shies away from looking too closely. At the same time, I mentioned that Smallville had a great moment midway through the series where a future Clark is talking to a past Clark, and he's got the glasses and everything on there. And he says to him, I believe it was a conversation where it goes, listen, you're going to change in the coming years. You're going to have to make yourself less conspicuous. Glasses, but also behavior. The Smallville took the moment to explain that it's about being a goofball. It's about looking a little hapless. And because Clark says to future Clark, glasses, no one's going to believe that I just put on a pair of glasses and not see that I'm the superhero you're talking about. And he says, well, your behavior has something to do with it. If you're kind of very clumsy and out of step and aw shucks, people are not going to look too closely. They're going to perceive you as weak as opposed to strong as Superman. He didn't say Superman at that point, but you know what I mean. So Smallville actually took the time to do exactly what you just said. Talk about the differences of how perception is reality. Perception is truth. This is weak sauce. This is the weakest thing to do. And like I said, if you're listening to Tom King, you're in trouble. And well, they did listen to Tom King. He wrote the Supergirl movie. So there's a problem there. So we go back now to the box office.
Well, did you hear James Gunn's other comment about Lex Luthor?
No, what? I missed that one.
All right, I have it pulled up. Let me share my screen. So this is about why it's called Luthor Corp and not Lex Corp.
Oh, I did hear that. Yes, I did hear that.
So yeah, why it's called Luthor Corp and not Lex Corp. I'm a Smallville fan. Most people don't name their corporations after their first names. Also, it leaves the door open for his father in any way a part of this or his mother. So the idea of it being his first name was surrounded by his ego, I believe. I haven't read the comment, so I'm not familiar, but it was specifically his first name because A, it sounds better than Luthor Corp, and B, it's an ego trip for him, even more so than naming it after your surname would be. And BVS did try to explain it. Is that, yeah, my father founded this company and named the corporation after me Yeah, they came up
No.
with this weird fucking
It
explanation.
makes-
Just have
Yeah.
him found it for his own ego.
Or you go the eventual Smallville route. Lionel Luthor founds Luthor Corps, and then Lex takes it over and calls it Lex Corps as a dig at his dad.
Yeah, see, that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is
Rebrand it.
just
Yeah.
Lex Corp, I think, sounds a lot better than Luthor Corp.
Yeah. So, but now we go back to we've actually reviewed this in the past. Oh god dang it. Hang on. There we go. I hit the wrong tab. We've reviewed the projections for Superman, and it hasn't changed. It's still aiming right now between 90 and we'll say 90 and 135. That's significantly lower.
Is that worldwide or domestically?
Domestic.
Okay.
And here's the problem. It's already going to be competing against Jurassic World. At this point, it's coming in second a week later. If Jurassic World has a lot of momentum, it will cut into this. And right now, I don't feel like the rest of the world is going to be interested in this Superman movie. I just don't. Jed, we've been covering this Superman movie for a year now. Where's the enthusiasm?
I see some stands, but that's it. The
They don't
average
count.
person that I talk to is like, oh yeah, I guess they're making another Superman. Kind of looks goofy.
Mm-hmm. This movie has had so much baggage with its marketing, with James Gunn, who can't shut up, with its imagery and everything surrounding it. These trailers that just continually make the movie look worse and worse. The stands can cream their pants all they want. They are not the ones who are going to make the difference here. Normies are going to make the difference here. And I don't think normies are going to land on this one. And I'm saying, I'm going to stick by it. This thing pulls down in the end between 500 and 600 million because it might have a decent start. It might pull down around 200 to 300 million in opening weekend, domestic and worldwide. But I think the word of mouth of this movie will destroy it. Because I'm on the record, I'm going to say it again now. Now that we're in this, I'm going to say it again just to make sure that everybody understands where I stand on this. This movie is going to be bad. It's not going to be meh, like some people think it's going to be. It's going to be bad. It'll be a mess, a narrative mess, a production mess, a CGI mess, a writing mess. We could see the writing, a performance mess. It's going to be so bad. Word of mouth is going to sink this, and I think we might get one of those epic bad weekend holds. I like those real like a 60+% drop or something like that.
Oh, I could 100% see it. I think 500-600 mil might be a little optimistic with this opening because it could be as low as a 200 million opening weekend.
About the only thing it has going for it is that it's not carrying the baggage of bad movies that came before it. Like
That's true. It has a clean slate. It doesn't. Some people will think of BVS though, because multiverses and big franchise changes and stuff like that, we're fully versed in how these changes make. But this stuff confuses normies. Normies talk about it all the time. There are normies out there who can't tell the difference between DC and Marvel because they don't care, which is totally fine. So that baggage, I think, will still carry over for some of the normies. Fans nerds like us will be able to tell the difference, but there will be normies who go, "Hey, I watched Justice League and it sucked, or The Flash and it sucked. Why would I go watch this one?" They are not versed in that it's a clean slate. But yeah, for a lot of people, it is a clean slate, so that will help a little bit, I think.
And it's not carrying the baggage of the previous bad MCU movie, like Black Falcon Captain America did, like the Thunderbolts did, and like Baby Steps will carry. Baby Steps has all the baggage of Marvel in its trunk. And that means something. I mean, Superman doesn't have baggage, but it will create its own baggage. It already has created its own baggage to sink it. But Baby Steps is another disaster in making. Now, they don't have it listed here, but I did look it up. They're saying this thing, the budget could be as high as 225, probably more. I've said it's at least 250.
Yeah, that's with Marvel's track record at this point.
There's no way it's 125 to 136. That's ridiculous. No effing way.
I could believe 225 before the reshoots.
Mm-hmm. And It's at least 250, between 250 and 300 with the reshoots. And then there's the marketing campaign. This thing has had a crazy marketing campaign. They are pushing it hard right now to try and convince you it's something great. And the trailer that released last week, that's the final trailer. That's it.
Oh God.
They have now nothing, no more marketing, no more fresh anything for another 25 days. So everything is out. There'll probably be bits and this and that, maybe more stupid commercials like the Little Caesars commercial, stuff like that. But here it is. This thing probably has a total with marketing budget. This thing's probably $400 million if I'm a day.
Yeah, well, it's pretty easy safe bet. I'd say the break-even point is at minimum 700 million, but probably closer to 900.
Yeah. So I mean, its break even is really high, and the thing is, it's not going to make more than 550 because it's carrying that MCU baggage that people are sick and tired of, and everything that comes out surrounding this movie with the news that Sue Storm is the real leader. If the leaks that we went over a week ago on Mellow Mondays are true, at the end of the week, you can check it out. I reposted it as a clip. This movie sounds like a disaster. They're showing more of Silver Surfer her in clips right now.
They're bragging about that. And yeah, Pedro, I think Pedro is becoming box office poison. He's nowhere near Rachel Zegler bad yet, and I don't know if he will ever get to that point. But like we were talking about, I believe it was last week, what box office successful films has Pedro Pascal had as a leading man? I can't think of one. The closest one is Gladiator 2 that he was a supporting actor for and didn't. That isn't a box office success. So him being in this movie makes me want to make it fail, though. And I think a lot of other people are just sick and tired of him. And everything with him is making this movie worse, even if it's not related to the film. Like the whole licking the rainbow stick, the whole a bunch of dudes pawning his face for Vanity Fair. All of that stuff. Everything he does turns the public off from him. The whole masculinity argument about how this is what real masculinity should be, and this is what we want to strive for is Pedro Gay Pascal. And yeah, I think he's hurting the movie more than anything else at this point, and I want this movie to fail just so that Hollywood will stop sucking his dick, or the other way around, and realize that, yeah, maybe you shouldn't cast him in everything.
Well, first of all, he's casting everything because he's the perfect loyal thug. He'll do whatever he's told. He doesn't have any sort of real personality. He doesn't have any sort of real belief system. He does what he's told. And also, he checks boxes too. We forget that, but he checks diversity boxes. Even though
Gay and brown.
Gay and brown. Yeah. Gay, brown, multicultural bullshit. This movie will fail. This movie will fail. And I think its projections are a little off because we check one's projection. This is the only one I could find on a quick search, and I don't think they're this high. I don't think it's going to get between 125 and 136 in its opening weekend.
Worldwide, yes. Domestically, no way. That's what I mean. He said, yeah, I could believe that worldwide, not going to believe it domestically.
Domestic, I think this thing barely cracks 100 domestic. Barely.
If that.
I'm trying not to. I'm leaving myself enough room.
That's fair. Yeah.
Right or wrong. I mean,
no, it's smart to be.
I've made some serious missteps in my time predicting on some opening weekends. So I'm trying to give myself enough wiggling room. Thing is, though, this thing is the end of the month now. Jurassic Park will have had its run essentially by then, and people might have had enough of going to see that. Superman will still be a little bit in contention, but then here comes Baby Steps coming in third, surrounded by essentially another, not as I would say, not as many missteps in the marketing campaign as James Gunn's Superman, but still a very disturbingly off-putting marketing campaign.
Ineffective.
Good word. Excellent word. Thank you. Ineffective marketing campaign that has done nothing to move the needle. People are not excited for this. In fact, the more they see of Pedro Pascal, the more put off they are.
And I believe there's a form of fatigue that we don't talk about a lot. There's all these discussions about superhero fatigue versus bad movie fatigue or Star Wars fatigue. And there's obviously good discussions to be have about those concepts. But one that we never talk about is box office fatigue as a concept. 3 massive movies in a row like this will make the average moviegoer get a little sick of it, with especially the costs involved. A lot of people are going to pick one movie, even if there wasn't the competition. Like Superman, like you're saying, is going to be dwindling. Jurassic Park will probably be done by that point. A lot of people will just be like, hey, I went to see Jurassic Park. Maybe I went to see Superman as well. That's enough movie-going experiences for me for the month. That's enough money that I've spent for the month. So there will be fatigue hurting Fantastic Four as well, more so than anything else, I think, at this point, with the competition. With a week between Superman and Fantastic Four, that helps a little bit, but 3 massive movies in a month, it hurts the last movie in the lineup significantly, I think.
Okay, and I just looked it up because you're talking about that, and my thought jumps to me. An average let's say an average family of 4, 2 parents, 2 kids, movie weekend, especially this coming weekend, because Jurassic Park is still going to essentially be family friendly. It's dinosaurs. Kids like dinosaurs. So I was a kid. I was 12, 13 around Jurassic Park coming out. You could take your kid to see that. Average movie ticket right now, according to a quick Google search, average movie ticket costs in America in 2025 $16.08. Probably and ranging as high as $23. And around here it's between $15 and $20, depending on where you go. Tickets. Let's say it's $16. All right, for a family of 4, you're over $50. You're over $50
before concessions.
Before concessions. Thank you. Before concessions, and you're gonna get concessions. It's a family thing. Kids are not gonna go. The kids are not going to sit there and go, no, we're happy you're not going to buy us popcorn. No, there's popcorn, there's candy, there's drinks, all overpriced. For a family of 4 to go see a movie in 2025, and let's put it there, dude. What if it's an IMAX movie? Because you got to go see it in IMAX. And IMAX can kiss my ass. I don't give a fuck about IMAX. Got to go see it in IMAX. That's going to cost even more. So you're looking at let's just say Jurassic Park family of 4 next weekend. You could drop anywhere between, I would say, $100 and $150 to go to the movies. Include gas in that. Travel. Got to include gas. People don't want to include gas. It costs money to travel, depending how far away. Some people, their movie theater might be half an hour away. That's an hour back and forth. What if you went to dinner before or afterwards? You might have a night that totals around $200 to $300 in everything once all said and done.
If you're not taking all your kids, babysitter too.
Babysitter too.
It's just 3 family-friendly films to a certain degree in one month. Most people are going to pick one of them and then catch the other later.
Exactly. The reason we have talked about this from the beginning, about the release schedule of these movies, Jurassic World Rebirth has a clear advantage because it's coming out first. And then 2 weeks later, Superman. Yes, people aren't going to go see, might not all go see dinosaurs. They'll go see Superman. But by the time you get to baby steps, you said it perfectly. There is going to be movie-going exhaustion, which we've talked about for months. People are going to be tired of going to the movies for these things. And you said it perfectly. All 3 of these movies are within the realm of family outings. These are all movies you can take your kids to. And if you just spent $200 on one of them, you're not going to spend another upwards of $400 to go see the other 2. Nobody in regular normie America has that kind of fungible assets to mess around with. That's just not happening. So by the time we get to baby steps, who's going to want to spend any more money on movies in July? This isn't like when I was young and a matinee was $4.95, and then going out at night, maybe that, and then it's up to $6, and concessions were still costly, but nowhere near what they are now.
there should be different prices for movies and the opportunity for cheaper prices because matinees aren't shit anymore. That's like $1 or $2 difference. And not to beat a dead horse here, but Expedition 33 is $20 cheaper than the average price right now, getting close to $30 cheaper if you're looking at Mario Kart World. And it's still selling gangbusters and made so much profit. I don't believe Expedition 33 would be as successful if it were at the normal price because it is seen as an indie game, or at least when it came out, and people aren't willing to give chances to smaller games that they don't know a whole lot about if they're full price. So the fact that it was at $50 and looked interestingly enough, I think is one of the reasons why it got so big so quickly. It was much more reasonably priced. Now, a lot of these movies need to be reasonably priced these days in order to have any sort of profit. And we're forgetting that. They're trying to make the movie theater going experience into a prestige event, into something that rich people to go to. There will be a point, I think, someday where it's obviously not going to be quite as bad, but how many people go to sports games compared to what they used to? Sports tickets are like $100 a person if you're lucky at this point. It's cutting out the middle class and even below class. Without the middle class, movie theaters can't endure, and that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, and there's just going to be there will be the audience for Baby Steps, which is who we're talking about now in this situation, is already a shrinking audience for a variety of reasons that we've listed. Among them, and I think it is actually becoming a thing now, superhero fatigue.
I 100% believe that. I've never been okay with the argument that it's just bad movie fatigue. Yes, that is a huge contributing factor. Bad movie fatigue is absolutely a gargantuan thing. But even, as we all say, with Westerns as being the big comparison to superheroes, even when Westerns were still consistently good, there were just too many Westerns out there, and people stopped caring in the 70s and 80s about Westerns, and that genre faded into a normal level of what you would expect from a genre. We were going to see this with superheroes even if they were good. I think we were starting to see that even back in 2018, 2019. The big prestige events were always going to be huge, like Endgame and Infinity War. But with these convoluted storylines, with having to do so much fucking homework, the average person was getting burnt out on the idea of superheroes. And people want variety. Variety is the spice of life is a phrase for a reason. So superhero fatigue is absolutely a thing. Now, is bad movie fatigue probably a bigger contributing factor?
Yes.
But some people still have superhero fatigue. I have superhero
and we've reached
fatigue.
that point. We've reached that point.
I 100% believe that. Like Thunderbolts, everyone told me it was actually pretty good. I had people in my life saying it's great. You need to go see it. People that I trust. And I could not give a flying fuck. Like, even if I went and watched it, like, even if I could believe that it was as good as Winter Soldier, let's say hypothetically, I still wouldn't enjoy it. I still wouldn't want to go out to see it because I'm sick of superheroes. I'm not engaging in superhero media.
These aren't
right
even
now.
the superheroes you care about. I mean, I care about Superman. I don't care about the Fantastic Four. I never have in my entire life. But I am already sick and tired of what James Gunn is showing me. And I don't want to give it a chance. And that's more of my James Gunn fatigue. But generally, people are tired of superhero movies costing so much and being in your face and throwing too much at you. And the biggest fatigue carrier of them all is the MCU. And they expect you to care and know so much going on right now that you're going to carry it to doomsday, which is another disaster that we'll be talking about for the next year as we lead up to that. But here we go. So we've dropped these three major movies: Rebirth, Superman, Baby Steps. I've seen nothing in our evidence that we've seen brought down, including the Fantastic Four Apostle budget. I have seen nothing to change my thoughts that Rebirth wins from the sheer fact that it's positioned to win. Superman, if Superman is great, it wins because people want to cheer for Superman. But James Gunn's Superman will not be good because of James Gunn. It will fail, but it will not fail as hard as Fantastic Four because people will be exhausted by the end of July. It's going to be hot. It's going to be annoying. You're going to be getting ready to send the kids back to school. And for the and for it just you have to understand the Fantastic Four are not as popular as some people want to believe they are. They're not. And you would make them popular by casting somebody better than Pedro Internet Daddy Pascal as
Who
Mr.
would you have cast?
Me? I'm terrible at that game. That's the problem. I'm terrible at the casting game. I'm not good at it because I don't like anybody until I'm convinced they're good in the role. I tend to not like anybody. I don't know. Honestly, all right. You know what? What's his name? Who they killed off? And
John Krasinski.
Yeah, he looked like he wanted to do it, and they fucked him over. I would say I would have given him another chance because he at least looked the part of bearded Reed Richards. You know, he at least looked like bearded Reed Richards. Pedro doesn't even look like anything. He looks like
himself. That's the only thing he can do. He has no acting range anymore. He did in Game of Thrones. That is very different than him. That's the one good performance I've ever seen from him. But after that, he's just doing Pedro. Hi, I'm Joel. I'm a badass. Hi, I'm Roman General. I'm a badass. Oh, I'm Reed Richards. I'm really smart. It's that same level for everything. And Mandalorian's the same way. I'm a bounty hunter.
He's a voice actor. He's a voice actor is what he is in that fucking
with no
show.
range.
Yeah. And that's a big deal when you're a voice actor. I watch a lot of anime. You got to have that range. So this movie has everything going against it, including the MCU baggage and superhero fatigue and real world fatigue of doing stuff. So it will be the worst one. My final numbers, I'm going to lock these in now. I'm going to lock them in. I'm going to say that Jurassic World tops out at 1.3. I think it tops out at 1.3. I think that's where it lands. And will be hailed as a success, despite the fact that it's probably hot, steaming garbage in reality. But that won't matter. It hasn't mattered yet. Why would it? Here's the other way of saying that. It hasn't mattered yet. Why would it matter now? Why would it matter now? Superman, 500 to 650. Superman is 500 to 650 when it taps out. And Baby Steps, 450 to 550. That's my range. You wanna put a stamp on this?
I 100% agree on Superman. That's a perfect range for that. I'm less optimistic about Jurassic Park. I know it's going to be absolutely gangbusters, but the excitement for it is still less than I saw for Dominion. So I'd say 1.1 billion to 1.1 billion. I'd say for the range of that. And yeah, Fantastic Four. I think it'll do a little bit better than the Thunderbolt and Black Falcon, but not that much. So I'd say 400 as the main thing for that, because yeah, both Thunderbolts and Black Falcon made about 350 if I remember correctly, and Thunderbolts was about 250 I think in the end. So I'd say really close to 400, maybe even sub 400 for Fantastic Four. If Captain America can't do it, Pedro can't do it.
It's numbers is doing this loading thing. Yeah, Brave New World tapped out at 413.
They got that high. Okay, so yeah,
at 413. And let me get Thunderbolts. Suddenly, numbers wants to load slowly. I hate it when numbers load slowly. It's a good website, but they suddenly out of the blue they'll have problems. Thunderbolts before it loads up, I think it is tapped out around 250, maybe 300. Hello, Dom. Who did his best to rescue me last night. He wasn't as good as Alf when it came to rescuing me last night, but Dom got there eventually. All right, Thunderbolts isn't. Oh, here we go. 381. Thunderbolts tapped out at 381.
Really? It had pretty good legs then, because that opening was awful.
Yeah, but it still didn't make money.
Oh God, no.
Still didn't make money. Even
so, yeah, somewhere in that range. I was being a little underestimating Fantastic Four then if those two got that high. So yeah, probably your range 450 to 500 is very reasonable for Fantastic Four. Taking in what their probably real costs were for both Black Falcon, Captain America, and Thunderbolts together, both of those probably lost between 300 and 400 million total. That's my guess. The real numbers, so it's not what they'll tell us. Man, Dom, why you gotta be like that, man? I don't get be like that.
You're not banned. I don't ban anybody. I would never ban you. I rescued you last night plenty. If you're a good friend, you would have rescued me more. There was a thing last night about everybody saving each other when we went down. It's just more gaming bro talk. Gave each other a lot of shit. But Dom was with us last night. It's a good time. As I said earlier, you guys can check out all of us playing Dark Tide last night on the game on my channel. I'm losing my words, and it's a good reason to stop because we made it, Jed. 2 hours.
We did somehow.
somehow. All right. So unless I don't have anything else, we mentioned Pedro's masculinity bullshit. I've already talked about it enough. Unless something else happens. Bottom line, they're attacking masculinity, and they're using Pedro as the poster boy for it right now. It's that simple, and and just be aware of it, everybody, and point it out. And all right, it is in the title for 2 seconds. We've shown that it's in the title, so I'll just mention it. We're not going to talk Ironheart. We don't need to. It's terrible. It's one of the worst things anybody's ever seen, apparently. And it just feeds into the failure of the MCU right now. That is going to feed into baby steps, exhaustion baggage, the fatigue baggage. It's just a part of it. It's a part of it. It's terrible. So we're just throwing out there. Neither of us have watched it. I know Dre didn't watch it. So I'm not even going to cover it. It's going to be done next week and over and done.
And everyone's going to forget about it by the time Jurassic World is in full swing.
Yeah. So next week, we're going to have a lot to talk about. We'll be analyzed Jurassic World. Some people I know who are going to go see it. I'm not because I haven't seen it. I saw the first World movie, but I saw it on like terrestrial television. That's when I eventually saw it, and there was nothing else on. That's the only reason I watched it. I could care less about these movies. So
that's the best one.
Yeah,
by far.
And it's because of Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Because he gave a Chris Pratt performance. He went out there, had fun. But all right, so we are done. Thank you, everybody. Jed, what's your week look like?
Well, I do just want to add, I fucking hate the tagline for The Odyssey Defy the Gods. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of that story. I am a Nolan bro. I fucking love Nolan. I defended Tenet, and no one else on the planet defended Tenet. And I can't stand this movie. I thought my favorite director and my favorite book would make a great team up. Turns out that's not the case. But everyone can find me on YouTube at Hollywood Scholar. All I've got going on is regularly scheduled live streams for Saturday Night Drive-In. But Adam will talk more about that.
Yeah, as soon as we get that first Odyssey trailer, we will save it for Roundtable so both Jed and I can hopefully have an entertaining meltdown. Because I predict.
Oh, I'm gonna spurg. I'm gonna full on, spurg out.
It's gonna be fun. Anyway, as for me, every Sunday night I go over and hang out with Duke Devil, Bradley Burnett, Jay Hitman, and Fractured Filter as we talk Star Trek Deep Space Nine. That will appear edited version on Brad's channel on Wednesday, so keep your eye out for that. Other than that, rest of the week, every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, join me for the Daily Dive to Double D's, where you, the audience, are in control. We have a lot of fun there, as we talked about earlier. Tomorrow night, as usual, Mellow Mondays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Right now, I've got nothing really planned, which is always a problem. It's always dangerous when I don't have any topics. So hopefully I'll figure something out tomorrow for that, aside from some of the random conversation starters. But I'm sure we'll have fun there either way. Maybe Devil and I will fight again over something. It seems to be the pattern lately. We fight over something. Let's see. Rest of the week, we got gaming, more Lunar Remastered. We'll get around to another session of that. Wednesday, playing more Space Marine 2 with Alf and guest TBD. I'll leave that to Alf. Although I can say in 2 weeks, Dermy will be playing with us on the 9th. He's going to play Space Marine 2. Then rest of the week, nothing special until Ballbusters. And then Saturday Night Drive-In, where, Jed, it's 4th of July weekend. What do you got for us?
Yes, it's 4th of July weekend, so we had to watch a patriotic film, and unfortunately, Independence Day is one that we've already done, which is my yearly rewatch.
We haven't.
Yeah, we've done Independence Day.
No, we haven't.
100% we did.
No, we haven't. I haven't seen Independence Day in 20 years.
I could pull it up. Your memory's fading, man. I checked before picking this. I fucking love Independence Day.
I haven't watched Independence Day. If I did it, I didn't watch it when we reviewed it.
You just try to remember it.
I haven't seen that movie. I haven't watched that movie since high school. I watched it to death when it came out, and I owned it.
It might have been in the previous incarnation of the show, but you and I have 100% discussed it.
If it was I don't remember. I think I must have really memory honed that.
But anyway, we had to pick another patriotic film, and I couldn't think of anyone better, especially after having just watched Braveheart. We need the American Braveheart.
Yeah.
We needed Mel Gibson's The Patriot.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be doing The Patriot. I hear there's an extended cut out there. That's what I've heard.
Really?
Yeah.
I have not seen the
There was
extended, just the
discussion last
generic
night.
one out.
They're watching that in the one of the Discords tonight. The boys are watching that, and there was mention of an extended cut. So, I don't know. So whatever copy I get, I'm gonna watch. I'm not gonna work too hard whenever I get my hands on. But it's been a while since I saw The Patriot, so I should. It'll be a relatively fresh take. It's been a long time. I'll say now, I don't put that movie on as much as a pedestal as other people do. So we'll see. We'll see how I feel about it watching this way around. It's a long movie. I know that.
Yeah.
I isn't it like almost 3 hours?
Independence Day?
No.
The Patriot?
Patriot.
The extended edition might be. I don't remember the theatrical being that long. I can look it up.
It's a long movie. I remember being long. Maybe I've seen.
It's 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's essentially a 3 hour movie. So I have a feeling one of my complaints will be bloat. I have a feeling it'll be bloat. We complained about Braveheart being bloated.
We did.
So it'll be consistent for me on that. Anyway, so we'll have The Patriot for drive-in next week, 6 p.m. Eastern, and then more gaming that night on co-op, and then we'll be right back here next Sunday to talk probably Jurassic Park Rebirth numbers and box office and stories. And anything else that happens, July will be upon us. You never know what the internet will provide, but that'll be it. So thank you, one and all, for joining us on this show today. We appreciate your support. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time. Until then, everybody, take it easy. If we had not gone down that route,